I'm Lamar Pitts of Lamar Pitts TV, the executive producer, and today I just received an astonishing letter. Now, my father and I, Greg Pitts, created Lamar Pitts TV almost 2 years ago. We love internet and we love sharing our community to the world. And for a year we've been emailing CNN every Thursday, telling them how we'd love to reach out to them and share Lamar Pitts stories with them. Today I received a letter from CNN. Thank you, CNN. And now I will read it. Hello, Lamar. Thank you for sending us this story idea. Our team here in CNN Viewer Communication reviews and summarizes story ideas and distributes them to appropriate news divisions for consideration. If one of the news divisions decides this story is something we can use in our own air reporting, you will most likely be contacted for more information. Also, as you probably know, the volume of story ideas we receive each day from our viewing public is extremely high. Because of that, we are unable to reply with information on whether or not it will be used. Thanks again for your interest, and keep your browser pointed to CNN.com. Sincerely, Pam, CNN Viewer Communications. At Lamar Pitts TV, we love CNN. Thank you for emailing us, and we will continue to reach out to you. Happy holidays. I'm Lamar Pitts, and this is my dad, Greg Pitts. We go all around the world covering community service, places to go, places to shop, places to eat, not to mention we record our lives on a daily basis. So to see our perception of the 21st century, join us in Lamar Pitts TV.
Stay tuned for more. Good afternoon, everybody. This is your boy, Greg Pitts, producer of Lamar Pitts TV on Thursday. Now you're wondering why the background says FIU. Why? Because we've just received tickets to see Larry King live at 6:30. So stay tuned. We may shout Larry out. We may get a picture with him. You never know. But again, this is your boy, Greg Pitts, producer of Lamar Pitts TV, and as we said before, we bring the community to you. All right? See you in a minute.
Thank you for this wonderful meeting. It's great to come home. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. Started in Miami. We began here in 1957. I have so many great memories of this city, and I feel a part of it, so it's like coming home. And the way I understand the program works, he'll explain it, and we're going to have a lot of fun here for an hour. Don't take it too seriously, because we're going to have some funny stories, I hope.
Well, we felt that the best way to conduct this evening's journey is to really, for me to ask a couple of questions and let Mr. King go to town. So you ready for some fun? Yeah! Okay, Mr. King, welcome back home.
Thank you, Larry.
Larry. So, tell us what you've been doing recently.
Well, after a long career of radio and television and newspapers and so many things I've done in my life, 26 years at CNN. I did the first national network radio show, the first international coast-to-coast television show, and I had intended to retire, and I thought I'd do some speaking. I did a comedy tour.
That's great. So you started your career basically in Miami.
I did.
You started in a very different era of media, radio, and very different from what's being done now. What was it like back then, and what drove you to become a journalist?
Well, back then, of course, it was the 50s, it was the Eisenhower years. It was very tranquil. It was a different time. We were not at war. They were, in Miami, we had 14 radio stations. On television, there were 3 television stations plus PBS. And then there was added a Fox station. It was much smaller than what it is now. And of course, the reach was so different. And now you have the internet, and we have, my God, Twitter and interface and I don't know what, you never know what's happening next. But as a journalist, all I wanted to do when I was a kid, this is the truth. I was a little kid in Brooklyn. I just wanted to be on the radio. I don't know what it was. Maybe I had a good voice when I was a kid, or I don't know what it was. But when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I would listen to the radio, and I would imitate what they were saying. There was a show called Suspense, and the announcer would go, "And now a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense." Lights out. This was a show, Sunday night. Turn down your blinds. Lock your doors. Crawl under your couch. And turn your lights out. I was going to take that, that's all I wanted to do. I didn't go to college. My father died when I was only 9 and a half. We were on relief for 2 years. New York bought me my first pair of glasses. New York City, I never forgot what it was like to be very poor. I didn't go to college. My brother went to college. I helped support my mother. I worked at a bunch of odd jobs. I worked at the merchandising companies. I sold milk on the phone. I worked at the United Parcel Service. I worked at Hearn's department store. I always had hopes I couldn't get into radio. Someday I'm going to get into radio. I was on the street on Broadway, and a friend introduced me to James Sermons, who was the director of staff announcers at CBS, and I told him I really want to get into radio. He says, well, go down to Miami, because it's a market that has quite a few stations, and there's no union, and there are people either on the way up or on the way out. So take a shot. So my uncle had retired from the tuxedo business, and he had a little apartment on South Beach, which was a dump then. South Beach now is the American Riviera. And he said, come down here, stay with me, and look around. So I went down, took the train, stayed at his place, and took buses around the city, going to radio stations. And I went to one small station, WAHR, no longer exists, small radio station, and the guy said, take a mic test. I'd never spoken in front of a mic. So I sat in the studio and I read some news. And he said, well, you sound pretty good. And he says, we usually have an opening. Hang around, and the first opening you'll have a job. So I hung around the station for like 2-3 weeks. I watched everything. I watched news readers and disc jockeys. And I just absorbed radio. I was at a small little radio station, but I loved it, just being around. And one day, station manager came over to me on a Friday afternoon. This was the end of April 1957, and he said, Tom Baer just quit. So they gave me the job. He says, you start Monday morning. Oh my God, I'm going to be on the radio. 9 to 12, and I'll do news in the afternoon and sports, just what I dreamed of my life. $55 a week. And I didn't sleep the whole weekend, and I practiced. I was at the radio station. I picked out my music that I was going to play. I drive my uncle crazy. I'm going to be on the radio. I'm going to be on the radio. And that was Monday morning, May 1st, 1957. The general manager calls me into his office. It's like 10 minutes to 9. I go on at 9. He said, Larry, good luck. I said, you're starting radio. You're 22 and a half years old. Yes. What name are you going to use? I said, my name is Larry Zeiger. He said, I won't go. You can't use Zeiger. It's too ethnic. Now you can use it. Too ethnic. People know how to spell it. Come up with another name. I said, well, I got to go on the air 10 minutes. And then he had the Miami Herald open, and there was an ad for King's Wholesale Liquors.